Hi, ladies and gentlemen. This is David, the host of the Podcomics webcast. My guest for this episode is ENZO, who makes Cheer Up Emo Kid. You know, one of my favorite things is when you can tell that me and the person I'm talking to are having a good time. And unless ENZO says differently, I'm going to say right now that he and I had a great time talking. Again, proof of this would be that this is an extra long episode by, 5 minutes. So let's get right to it. My conversation with ENZO in 3, 2, boop. All right, ENZO.
Hi.
Creator of No Spring Chicken.
Oh my god.
Is that correct?
That is. I haven't heard that name in a long time.
How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So for those listening, ENZO is the creator of Cheer Up Emo Kid. But let's talk about No Spring Chicken real fast.
Okay. Wow. When you said you did your research, I didn't think you did that much, but I'm impressed already.
Well, it's all out there.
Okay.
So here's what I didn't know about you.
Yes.
The first No Spring Chicken is from 2003.
Yes.
So you've been making comics for 13 years?
Yes. That is the first one that I put online.
Yeah. I think that means you've been making comics online longer than Side Night and Happiness.
That's a pretty good distinction. Even though the success is probably a little bit different.
A little bit. I mean, we don't compare ourselves.
No.
But like seriously, I did not know that you'd been making comics for so long.
Yeah. Like, dude, I've been wanting to do comics my entire fucking life.
You have been, as far as I can tell.
I mean, like, I knew, and I think it was in middle school that I wanted to do comics. Like, I don't know. I guess like other people, they had it really easy. They're like, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, and I'm like, I want to write dick jokes and put them on the internet.
You've succeeded. You can now quit.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I knew really early that I wanted to do it, and like I feel like I'm kind of lucky in that I figured that out pretty early.
Yeah. So that would have been when you were 15.
Yes.
And if you were putting them online then that means that you had been drawing them on paper before. So yeah, you've been doing comics since you were a teenager.
Yes.
What does the name No Spring Chicken refer to?
It is an idiom that I picked out of an idiom dictionary that I happen to have. I don't know where I got it, but I was looking for like cool names, and the domain name was available. So that's like one of the driving factors of almost everything I put online. Is the domain name available. But no spring chicken is an idiom for not young anymore. And
you were 14 when you were feeling not young anymore.
Exactly.
So how do you feel about that now?
What the fuck are you thinking, kid?
I think it's because you do all of these like sort of reboots. Like you've done like Phase 2 and Phase 3 of Cheer Up Emo Kid. Is it time for Phase 2 of No Spring Chicken?
No, I'm not. I don't think I'm gonna go back to that ever.
I'm impressed that you still maintain the website. I mean, like not like you're not updating it, but you still have the URL and it's all up there.
It's more like a nostalgia thing, if anything. Like it's also because I have a lot of stuff there that the stuff that I have on No Spring Chicken is a mix of stuff that I like, stuff that I hate, and stuff that like I hate, but it's more like I shouldn't take it down because it was a learning experience to do that. Like, there's a couple of like racist strips in there.
Whoa.
Maybe one or two.
Racist against who?
Probably Asians.
Okay, well then, I mean that's in-group humor for you.
Exactly.
Seriously, if I'm making a racist joke about Asian people, it's a little different.
Actually, I do that a lot. I still do that a lot. But there's jokes that are just like they don't fly at all. And I mean, I haven't looked at the archive for years, but like whenever someone brings it up, which is almost never, get to talk about it a little bit and how like I feel like it was a good experiment for me because I got all the lessons that people learn like as they're like I was able to learn early on. Like for example, one that sticks out in my mind is don't make comics that make fun of not make fun of people, but like that bitch about something.
Okay.
Like I feel like I don't personally. I know people do this and I don't mind that. I just can't do it myself. It's like I don't like doing comics that are preachy. Like oh, this is my stance on this, and you need to know this. Like I think I did a couple of those when I was young, and looking back, I'm like I don't like it at all.
Weird.
But I like that I learned that early on because I feel like what I'm working on right now. Like if I did that, it wouldn't fly. It would just be like a negative.
I just learned that right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's honestly a personal preference, though. Like I don't like reading comics that are preachy. Some people do, and some people like making them, and that's totally fine with them.
And I took everything down from DeviantArt in a way. I wish I hadn't. I didn't because I wasn't hiding things, but it did have the same result that you cannot go back and look at all of my uglier older comics. My stupider haircuts, and and I'm never gonna go back and put them all up.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's a lot of work, and it has no benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wish I hadn't taken it down.
Yeah, but I mean, like, do you enjoy looking at them though? Because I can't really look at my old stuff anymore. Not unlike once every couple of years.
I don't know. I haven't really done it. I look at my old comic books. That's the only time is if I look at something that I've printed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I see things. I'm like, gosh, I know how to not do that anymore, or like this really sucks. Often, honestly, a lot of the jokes I did that were good back then, I've just redone them. I've reshot them for Webtoon. Like, I went through all of the comics I ever did, and I was like, this gag was good.
Yeah.
So I'll just reshoot it.
I've definitely done that as well.
Yeah, why not? I mean, we live in the era of remakes, and it never reached the audience I wanted it to originally. So like,
and it's still a great joke. So
yeah, comedians get to do that. There's the idea that like we only get one shot at a joke is weird.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the world gets multiple shots at their jokes.
It's true. That's true. I've never thought about that before.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. Well, ENZO, creator of Cheer Up Emo Kid.
Hello.
So one thing I did today is I actually listened to the patent pending song.
Okay.
Which chronologically works out so that probably you had heard it before you named your strip that. I
actually didn't hear it.
Really?
No.
It came out about the same year. Okay. So if anything, it came out, people were using the expression.
Then I probably heard it somewhere and was like, that's pretty funny. Because that's exactly what I did. Like, I heard it online. Yeah. I heard the phrase, not the song specifically.
Sure.
And then people were asking me, is this after the song? I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I'm going to say no.
It's not a great song. It's a real basic pop punk song.
Yeah.
What was I going to say about patent pending? Oh, you'll be happy to know that you are the #1 search result.
Oh, yeah.
You have beat out the band that had the song. I mean, I don't think they coined the expression either. I think they wrote a song about this expression which had been going around.
Yeah, I like to think that.
But
people have to say like, "Oh, it was their idea, and I just took it," because I heard it. I heard the phrase before, but
so that's where I started in my research was Cheer Up Emo Kid in 2008, which is how I found out about No Spring Chicken and all that.
Yeah, how did you find out? Because I'm curious.
Your third one in the archive. It is a strip with a beautiful establishing shot of a guy standing on the edge of a building, and the perspective is such that you're looking all the way down the building onto the street.
Yes.
You know this strip?
Yes.
Well, in that one, there is under that establishing shot, it says nospringchicken.net.
Oh my god! I totally forgot about that.
So I was like, "What the fuck is No Spring Chicken?"
Wow, good eye.
Yeah,
good eye.
That's what I do.
Nice.
But that's where I started. So I'm really curious. Who were you dating in 2007 that you broke? Tell me about this breakup because it must have happened.
Well, it's just my high school sweetheart.
Yeah. So you were 2008. You were 18.
2000.
Sorry, wait. 2003. You were 14.
Yes.
So in 2008, I believe, is when Cheer Up Emo Kid is at least this incarnation of it is. So you would be 5 years. You would be 19.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you really were just fresh out of high school.
Yes, pretty much.
And you dated this girl all throughout high school?
Maybe like the last 2 years.
Okay, and then you had a bad breakup?
Yes.
Did she cheat on you?
Pretty much.
Okay. Pretty much. I don't understand how someone can pretty much cheat on you.
Let me elaborate a little bit, but not too much. Yeah,
you don't have to use any names.
It was like, hey, I met this guy, and I want to do stuff with him, but I don't want to cheat on you.
She was asking for permission.
Yes.
But were you like, did she go off to college?
Yes. We were doing long distance at the end of it.
Dude, that is such the exact story.
Exactly, right?
So you guys are high school sweethearts.
Mm-hmm.
She goes off to college. Do you stay, or did you also go off to a different college?
I went to a different college. So, yeah, they were on the East Coast. I was on the West Coast. And then I moved out to the East Coast to be like, oh, we're going to be together. And no, it didn't work. It didn't help.
You moved coasts?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And that was after she asked for permission?
No.
No, okay. So you moved to Boston. So now you guys are not doing long distance anymore.
No.
And she says, hey, so it's great that you're here and all, but I'd kind of like to try... I want to screw around with this guy, or I want to date him?
There was never like any like specific... It was more like hey, I'm hanging out with this guy more and more and more. And then I'm like, what the fuck, basically, you know? Like, this is... Also, I had already... After Boston, I had to move back to Canada because my family was immigrating.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to go through the whole process. And while I was there, that's when it was like, she was like, oh, hey, I'm going to go visit this guy in fucking another state. I'm like, what? Why are you visiting him when I was in the West Coast, you never visited me? And he's like, oh, yeah, because my parents like him better. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Uh-oh. Is there any racial component to that?
Absolutely.
Ah, fuck. Is it worth talking about the racial component of this? You said that her parents liked him better, so she wasn't Filipino.
No. And I wasn't Chinese.
Oh, okay. Wow. That's
it.
A tale as old as time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yep.
All right. Well, that is the breakup that fueled the background of Cheer Up Emo Kid?
Pretty much, yes.
The very earliest strips are obviously referencing Peanuts. You know, like you do the advice, the kid
box.
Sitting on the advice box.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's absolutely where it's from. Because I was like, my idea for it was like, what, like, Peanuts is very like about life and like, you know, it's...
Sorry, you got to make sure to hit that T. Peanuts.
Otherwise... Peanuts is about life. Peanuts is about life. Peanuts is morally about life. And I'm like, why isn't there one for relationships? Because that's what I need for myself right now. And I figured that, like, hey, I'm going to, like, write about stuff that I want to tell myself. Hence the title of the comic, right? Because, like, yeah, basically when I started out, the comic was just for me. I put it online because that's what I do. That's what I did at the time. Like, I didn't expect anyone to read it because no one read No Spring Chicken except my parents.
I'm not sure if we actually covered the name, so I'm going to ask you one more time.
Yes.
That sounded really aggressive. Why did you name it Cheer Up Emo Kid?
Basically, it was the whole, like, when I started it out, it was mainly like, I'm gonna make a comic that's trying to help myself, and I'm just gonna put it online because I'm just used to putting it online. I always do it online. I always put it online. Mm-hmm. But like, I want to like kind of help myself. I want to like fix myself because I don't like the way that I'm feeling right now.
Okay, so you were the emo kid.
Yes. And
you were telling yourself to cheer up.
Cheer up. That's why there's two like very distinct personalities and main characters in the comic. They're just like, one is just like the whiny, like, oh, life is terrible, and the other guy's just like, shut the fuck up, man up.
Okay.
It's like, those are the two
voices in your head.
Crazy. Yeah, exactly.
And did you ever consider naming it Settle Down Smiley Kid?
I did. I like that. That's actually one of people. Some people say that's still their favorite one. I'm like, I'm happy to hear that. It's very early.
Yeah,
It has, like, there's no definite punchline. It's just someone being mean.
After the name, we talk about the look of a comic.
Yeah.
And the way I do this is I want you to describe the comic to a person who has never seen it before. So if they're sitting at a table and there's 3 comic strips, so like on the table, 3 pretty similar comic strips, you need to describe it so that they can pick up yours.
Like, so that would be visually as well as like content-wise.
I suppose so. If you feel that there is this is a random Cheer Up Emo Kid. Do you ever call it QEC?
No.
Do you ever call it QEC?
Nope.
No, never.
No.
Quack.
I have not. I've thought about that, but I was like, it just didn't feel right to pronounce it like that.
I have called it QEC.
QEC. Or I just, like, if I want to shorten it, I just say it's Emo Kid comic.
Emo Kid. So this is like a random emo kid on the table. So you can try to say content, but you could be wrong.
Okay. So it would probably be black and white or grayscale.
Mm-hmm.
There's a character there that has no features, and they're like white colored. It's just like a circle with 2 dots in the middle. 2 dots in their head for eyes. And they're usually talking about something that's about a relationship, or whining about a relationship, or something random like drugs or web design.
You always say that you talk about drugs. I didn't.
Yes.
I guess I saw more drugs today than I'd ever seen. References to weed and cocaine for sure.
Yes.
I mean, drinking and smoking.
Yes.
Those are drugs.
Yes.
Okay. Well, so look-wise, so you said black and white or grayscale, which is pretty accurate.
With one primary color.
Yep. Your use of color is very sparse, but it's like a lunar baboon. It's kind of distinctive because it's grayscale with like one color.
Yes.
Let's see. You said that there'd be a featureless character. Now this is something I want to talk about because I wouldn't call it a stick figure. I called it like a ghost, or I called it like a bubblehead.
Yes.
They're kind of like gingerbread men. So how would you describe the way your characters are, especially initially? Now they're more like humans.
Yeah.
But originally they were a circle head, 2 dots for eyes. But how would you describe the body?
So I've described it, or I have heard people describe it as like starfish people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
And then there's also like bobbleheads is one. Also, I think that's pretty much it actually. Like the thing is though, because like it is not my original idea. That is one thing I have to mention pretty early. It's
whose idea was it?
So it is based on this in high school. I took the idea. So there's this artist called Boo Boo Kitty Fuck on DeviantArt.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I'm actually familiar with them.
Oh, awesome. Well, there you go. Like they drew these like characters that were kind of like, I guess a little bit like Pawn and Z characters, but they were like,
what was that?
Pawn and Z.
I don't know what that is.
It's like a comic with these 2 kind of like bobbleheaded comic, and they're very happy. They're all relationship, like, oh, I love you, blah blah blah. You probably see them on like Hallmark cards. And this guy Boo Boo Kitty Fuck like started making these like really like bloody versions of those, and they were really funny. So I started drawing in high school. I started drawing my own versions, and then like my girlfriend at the time was like, "Oh, I love these. You should draw more." So, or no, she wasn't my girlfriend yet. That's the thing. So I drew them to impress her.
Oh, actually, I'm looking at Boo Boo Kitty Fuck's gallery right now, and they're called Bobblehead.
Yes. There you go.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I actually had to quit following Boo Boo Kitty Fuck because it was so disturbing.
Yeah, no, like I love that shit. It's like honestly one of my biggest earlier inspirations.
Yeah.
And like that's actually one of the reasons why I tried to move away from that. Like at some point, like I tried to like, okay, this is not my original design. I want to like make it my own, or I want to do other stuff, and people didn't like that. Like like they were just like, oh, like at some point in the comic, I changed it to fully featured people.
Right around, it was like 2010.
Yeah. And that's when I was like, hey, I want to do my own thing. I want to make this unique, because it still bothers me that like this is not. I don't think it's original.
So with bobbleheads,
yes,
there's a weird class of comics that I kind of would put yours into. Like there's no judgment made here, but like if to the left of yours is Maxi Mumble and to the right is the Odd Ones Out, that is like your family. And
I agree.
We can call those bobbleheads.
I absolutely agree. I mean, like you can even loop Cyanide and Happiness in there as well too, a little bit.
Yeah, like because XKCD does straight up stick figures.
Yes,
but these are not.
Yeah, and they're like they have like a little bit more weight to their bodies. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It's like one step closer towards like more fuller detail.
Anthropomorphic.
But with less work.
I don't have much more about the look. I mean, you've been all over the place, and you have a lot of comics.
Yeah.
There was definitely a point in time, like, what happened in 2011? because you only made like 6 comics that year.
Yes. So, so I went through a lot. I went through a lot after the. So I did the. I think one of the breaks points that I use is after the dog comic.
Mm-hmm.
During the dog comic, like I was just kind of doing it periodically because that's like I was actually, and then like that's when I started a new style after the dog comic, and then it wasn't received that well, so I got kind of like a little bit like, damn, again.
Let's introduce the dog comic first, and then we'll get back to this, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
So tell me about the dog comic real fast.
So the dog comic, I started doing it in 2009 after my dog died.
Aw.
And yeah, it was like my childhood dog that I never like took care of as much as I should have, and it kind of hit me that I should have after she died. So hence the comic. But yeah, that was honestly like my biggest comic ever. Like it's one of my. That's where I feel like if I ever were to have 15 minutes of fame, that was it.
This was 2010.
9 or 10, I think. Yeah.
And it was about that was like 9 episodes long.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I read it today. Didn't cry.
Okay. You have a heart of stone. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I got to the point where I'm like, oh, I
Yeah, it's definitely like one of the like easiest and the hardest things I've ever had to write. I always say that because like it was easy, just it came out, like it just like flowed, and also hard because it was just difficult to write. Like I don't know, emotionally, I guess. But after I finished it, I was really happy with it, and then I guess I stopped updating regularly after that. But then someone posted it on 4chan without they had like edited out my name, and it had somehow made its way to Imager and Reddit and Imager. And it ended up getting. This is one of my I love talking about this. So please, I'm sorry if it sounds like bragging, but it got onto the Imager's top 10 of 2010.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was really happy about that.
Cool.
And also, Imager was pretty cool about it because they put my name and everything on it too, but even though it was removed. So yeah, that was one of my crowning achievements, I guess. And
cool. I'm you were up there with the I'm with Coco.
Yeah. And it was very cool.
And a stone dog eating its birthday cake. Hang on, I'm looking. It's kind of funny because like I can understand why this would be big for you. Yeah, there you are, right there.
It's huge for me. And the funny thing is, I didn't make a dime off of that, of course.
That was also the year of Sad Keanu.
Yes, exactly.
These are your colleagues.
I know. Yeah. So the only bad thing was that like I had already by the time like I had already like stopped updating regularly. I stopped updating regularly for a year, but maybe almost a year, because I was going through several different things. It was like one, I was like I don't really know what direction I want to take the comic. I'm not sure what I'm doing, and two, because I had gone through another breakup, and I went through this whole like I had started drawing these comics that were like, oh, and then I'm like bitch about it again. Then it hit me. I'm like I should stop doing these because they're not. I just feel like I'm starting over. Like I was starting to make comics about how like, oh, they're a bitch and they should go die and everything, and I'm like, this is me regressing back to number 1, and I don't want to do that anymore. So I went through this whole like, okay, I need to kind of get my shit together, figure out who I am and who I want to be, not only as like a comic artist, but as like a person.
Okay. Well, what's interesting is, so the dog comic is in 2010, and that's like it's from February to March is when those are published.
Yeah.
The other half of that year, you do another run of, I guess they're called girlfriend comics, and then it ends with a fight between two of your characters, and the fight is the first comic of 2011.
Yeah.
And it is in a markedly different style.
Yes.
And I feel like maybe this is one of the things that you wanted to accomplish too.
Yeah. This is like I definitely wanted to do a little bit more long form. That was one of my dreams, and like more featured more people with more features. People would like just like I wanted to draw, I wanted to draw more details, basically, and like I mean like I got a bunch of comments. Like people are very supportive, but they're also just like we will support anything you do, but this is what like this other thing like the bobbleheads is what we originally came for and what we love. Like that's generally what they said, and like that's why I stopped, because I was like, I don't know. Should I cater to them? Should I cater to myself? Like, should I find a balance? And what is that balance, right?
Well, the comic, the last one of 2011, there's 4 comics you did in 2011.
Yeah.
The first one is Girlfriend 8, A Fight, which is a silent comic, all action, character, like, backgrounds,
yes,
and
everything.
facial features. And then there's something interesting, is the last one of 2011 is Girlfriend 10. And it starts off that way, but it ends. The last 2 panels are very reminiscent of like your earliest strips.
Yes.
So is that you saying basically what you were just saying, that like, should I do the earlier style or what?
Yes, basically. It was a pretty internal struggle, and I guess I put that out in the comic, like, which one should I do? And it just seemed like, okay, well, I guess like the people want the featureless ones more, so they win.
Well, then let's fast forward a year to October of the following year, the reboot of QEC. I'm going to call it QEC.
Yeah.
And in the reboot, you have gone with the bobbleheads, but
there's still detail.
There's a lot of detail in that first one. Like, you can see the Harbor Center is in the first panel.
Yes.
For people who don't know Vancouver. In the second panel, there's like rivets around the window of the plane. And there's more detail.
Yeah.
There's an airplane in the first one, which they're on, but like the airplane has enough detail to be considered detailed, in my opinion.
Well, thank you. One of the reasons for that actually is because between 2010 and 11, I actually took a comic book production class. My teacher was Steve Rolston, and I learned a lot from him. It was a really great class. And one of the things that I learned was just like, I learned all the stuff that I wanted to apply. And one of them was just like, black and white. That's why I studied it on black and white, because I wanted to learn how to crosshatch.
Yeah, that comes across in like episode 2.
Yeah.
There's a great panel at the end of episode 2 where I'm guessing you did some photo reference of the outside of an airport. But there are 2 guys smoking in front of some concrete cylinders, and the shadows are great. And the concrete has that texture.
Yeah, I really love that. I love that panel.
I would make that into a T-shirt or something. That's a great panel.
Thank you. Like that's what I want my comics to look like.
Okay.
But that was also when I was trying to decide whether should I even use this style. But yeah, it was really fun to it was actually really fun. Those were really fun. Those first couple of that reboot, I guess, was trying to figure out like whether I like it or not.
And I think since we're 4 years in the future from there,
you
don't have. The cross hatching is
gone.
It's kind of gone. I was just looking at your most recent comic, and I don't even recognize it. Like, your most recent one looks like it is formatted for Instagram. It's a 4-panel square.
Yes.
And I don't even know who it looks very different from that reboot one.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been through so many like design changes. I actually am pretty happy with what it is now today.
Okay.
So yeah. Because I realized that like all those detail stuff, like it's kind of a little bit time consuming for me. It's not feasible for how often I wanted to update.
Yeah, maybe save that just for print.
Yeah, absolutely. And also because like the black and white does look really good on paper.
Yeah.
I don't know about print. Like I feel like people are more used to seeing color on the internet. So that's why I started moving away from the black and white, and I tried to tie it into a theme of, it's only black and white when the main character is unhappy. Just like that was like my artsy fartsy explanation for that.
Okay, well, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get into how you write your strips.
Okay.
And the way I like to do that is we talk about the last one that you did, and the next one you're going to do. So are you doing comics these days?
I've been working full gung ho on my book right now, so I only update once a month.
You're not doing gags?
No.
Oh no! But when you update, are you just pulling from the archives?
Yes. On social media, I have been updating old comics.
Yeah.
But on my site proper, like it's only been once a month.
So the comic "Sexy" is new.
is the newest one. That is from September or beginning of August.
But like, so for the purposes of this conversation, we can talk about the last one that you put up?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, well, tell me about the comic Sexy. And so obviously this is an audio format. Can you tell it in such a way so that people will find it funny, as if it were a joke?
Okay, so it is about a... I can't remember. I have to look at it.
There's a couple.
Okay. So there's a couple, and the girl is asking the guy if she I guess she's asking permission, or not really permission. She's asking if he would be annoyed if she put sexy pictures of herself online. It's supposed to be implied that she wanted to put it on her Instagram, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, that's fucking hot. Let's do it." So he takes pictures of her, and they post it on Instagram. And then, so they're like, the guy's looking through the comments, and he's just like, "Babe, don't read the comments." And she's just like, "Uh-oh, like, oh, this is bad," like, cause like, obviously she's worried that they're just making fun of her or something. But on the last panel, you see a list of the comments, and they had seen the background of her picture, and they'd seen her PC, and they're like, "Ooh, I want to know about that. Like, what, what." So the punchline is they completely ignore her, even though I tried to draw her as good looking as possible, but they completely ignore her and just focus on the PC in the background, trying to figure out what the specs are.
All right, so that was your last comic, and you say that you're making only one new gag strip a month.
Well, I did make one this month, but I actually didn't put it on my site because it's the one I put on Webtoons for the dog thing.
I think we can still talk about this. Just pretend that you are going to definitely do the following, okay? Cartoonists collect joke ideas.
Yes.
You must have a collection of joke ideas somewhere in your apartment, right? Is it on your phone or is it on paper?
It's on my phone.
Okay. And when people have them on their phone, that also means computer because they're kind of the same thing.
Yes.
So, do you have access to that information now?
I do, yeah.
All right, I'd like to hear some of your. We call them germs in the Chris Wilson episode.
Yes.
Or seeds. These joke ideas, because it's not a joke. It's just something which, if nurtured, could become a joke.
Okay.
It's a potential joke.
Well, I do have a couple of they're already written out.
I don't like those.
No?
No. I like to hear the ones that are so basic, like it just says swing set. Or or even weirder, like a collection of words. It says monkey car wash, president, question mark.
Okay, I have two specific notes. One is written out, and the other one is
Well, let's get them both. Even though I said I didn't like it, let's hear one of your written out ones, and let's hear some of the other ones. Okay?
Okay.
Let's hear what you got.
All right, just give me a second. I don't like any of these. Why are they written?
Oh, you don't have to find one that you like.
Okay, so this is one that I wanted to do, but Jose has told me it's racist.
Okay.
Okay, so so there's two cavemen. The first one's name is Gronk, and he's presenting this car that he has made out of stones, and he's like, Gronk has invented automocar. And his friend Bronk comes over. It's like, Bronk, like Gronk's automocar, will Gronk build one for Bronk? And Gronk says, yes, I will build you automocar for 15 rocks. No, I don't know if this currency is very good. So Gronk begins to build Bronk's car, and Bronk comes over and it's like, can Gronk add these buzzard feathers to the back of the car?
Okay.
And add this big tailpipe shaped rock to the end of the car? And Gronk just looks at me and says, fucking racers.
Fucking racers?
Ricers.
Oh. Yeah, that's racist.
Hey, that's my reason is that I am totally okay to do it because I'm Asian.
Yeah,
I don't personally feel that word is racist, but people use it in a racist way. So,
does ricer specifically mean somebody who also drives their car around real fast?
It can be. It's specifically for people who make their car they soup it up.
Okay.
Visually, not actually. If they make it look like it's faster than it is, if they add spoilers and wings and tailpipes that don't actually do anything, but they make the car look like a race car, that's a racer.
You know, is it racist? The joke does depend on knowing all of the things you just said.
Yeah.
And in that way, I guess it is.
Yeah.
But, like, I enjoyed the joke before you even got to the punchline. I think the idea of just the stupid guy wanting to, like, embellish upon his stupid car is funny enough.
Okay.
So, like, my 2 cents, you can end it any way. It's already funny.
Okay.
So yeah. I would love to see that comic. I don't particularly love the punchline because I don't think that's the funniest thing.
Could probably work without it. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Well, like, honestly, he could just deadpan. The guy says, like, can I do all these things? And he's just looks at him like...
Actually, I like that a lot more. Now that we've talked about it.
It's your strip. You can do whatever you want. I think it makes it more specific at the end.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't need to be. Because, like, we already dislike dudes who fucking do that to their car.
Yeah.
And so it's more general. Anyways, if you put it out there, it's very likely that, like, in 1 year, someone will just draw fucking ricers on there and put that on Imager.
That's true.
Actually, you should just make that version. Like,
just post it on 4chan or Imager and be like, and then I'll come into comments like, who the fuck did this? Like, who would do such a thing? But then, like, you see my name in the uploader, and people are just like,
You uploaded this.
It's like, no, it's an imposter. My site got hacked.
All right, so give me some more ideas. Like, that was great. I really enjoyed that one. I'm glad I asked you for giving me a long one.
Okay. So this is just these are just the single like lines.
Mm-hmm.
Belly button cancer.
Okay.
I don't know. Double, triple, septuple, dodecahedronupal.
This is a Timmy's joke?
Yeah.
We'll have to something like footnote that one.
Go to heaven and get punched in the nuts for every time you wrote a stupid comment on the internet.
Okay.
That's a little bit like outlet for reading stuff.
Doesn't sound like heaven either, by the way.
No, not at all.
It sounds a bit like hell.
Everyone calling a cat cute and fat. The last frame, the cat is looking at its stomach in the mirror.
Okay. That's like a Sarah Anderson joke.
Yeah.
I just imagined it in the style of Sarah Anderson.
Like, everyone's like, oh my god, Kitty, you're so fat. And the last panel, they're just like...
The cat's like just standing there, holding the belly, looking in the mirror. That's great. You should do that one, too.
This one, I feel like there is a joke somewhere, but I don't know how to end it.
Alrighty.
So the first frame, they're like you see a bunch of... this guy sees a bunch of overripe bananas. They're like, yeah, let's make some fucking banana bread.
Okay.
And then the second frame, they're just like, they see this pile of stale banana bread. They're like, yeah, let's make some fucking, and then like it just escalates from there. And like the last frame I have, they had just built this giant like robot made out of banana bread, but I don't know how to get there.
Well, the next question is, what do you make out of stale bread? And don't you make like bread pudding?
Yeah, I guess.
But then what do you make out of? So bread pudding goes bad. It's a dairy product. It turns into cheese, right?
That's a good idea. Yes.
I don't know what. It's a robot made out of bad cheese. Yeah. That's the three things. It's bad bananas into banana bread, bad bread into bread pudding, bad pudding into cheese into robot. It's enough turns to be a joke.
I would love to do that. I don't know how.
There's
something there.
It is, because it's like, because you turn bad bananas into banana bread, but what do you turn bad banana bread into? I mean, if it got mold on it, you could turn it into penicillin. Like mold on bread turns into like drugs. Yeah, so maybe it turns into acid. They take the acid and they get the idea for the robot.
Oh my god! See, this is what would require way more panels to explain. That's my only issue. This one is like, there's a couple that's arguing, and the girl's just like, she's pregnant, and she's just like, she's just like, hey, I'm carrying our child, like, I'm like, and she's just using the argument, like, I'm carrying my child, or your child, and he's like, hey, I do a lot of work too. I had to convince you to sleep with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that one.
That one you can tell on stage.
Yeah, it's definitely like a stand-up joke.
Yeah.
A group of people who are sad and get offended when someone is happy in the movie.
Okay, because they're like a sad rights organization.
Exactly.
Like, how dare you? You know, insensitive to sad people.
Yes.
Or what would be even kind of a modern twist on that would be, like whitewashing. What if it's the sad character in a famously sad novel? They adapt it, but then they cast a happy actor to play the sad character.
Oh my god, that is amazing! Yes.
And they're like, "What's with all this happy washing?"
Happy washing. Joy washing. Oh, yes, I love it.
You are more than welcome to make that strip. Because
this is exactly the same thing. Ugly people feeling discriminated against and demand equal representation.
No, that's just true.
Oh, damn, savage.
This is the phase where we talk about the next one you're going to do. So pick one that you think is most likely to be done next. Okay, go ahead.
So the first panel. Okay, this comic's about me and settling with my life goals.
Uh-huh.
First panel is me as a young 15-year-old child saying, "I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna be famous. I'm gonna make so much money." Second panel is me as a spry 20-year-old, and I'm saying, "Okay, I don't need to be rich. I just want to be famous." The third panel is me at 25, and I'm like, "Okay, I don't need to be rich or famous. I just want to have at least a Wikipedia page or a verified badge."
Okay.
And the last panel is me saying, I was 30, and I'm like, "I just want Soulja Boy to follow me back like he did in 2008 before his account got hacked."
Aw, that must be true too, huh?
It is.
Because you would never say that if it weren't true.
No! This is the worst part. I have no proof.
Oh.
Yeah. I judged it. That's actually
You didn't even screenshot?
No.
Oh, fuck.
That's why, I have no one will ever believe. No one has to believe me.
Can I ask you a serious question?
Yes.
Who is Soulja Boy?
He is a rapper.
He's gonna Superman that hoe?
Yes. Yes.
Has he had another song since?
Probably. I don't know.
Did you do a joke that had Superman that hoe in it and then tagged him or what?
Okay. No, it was okay. This is what I remember. So I made a joke making fun of rap.
Mm-hmm.
It was specifically the song "Bedrock" because it was a song making fun of. It was a comic making fun of that song because the lyrics are literally like "Call me Mr. Flintstone. I can make your bed rock," and I'm just like, I can write a rap song. I just have to make a bunch of similes and allegories and and just so I made one that using the exact same
template.
But it's about a koala. Call me a koala. You're my eucalyptus. Yeah. And after I posted that strip,
I gotta be honest, Bedrock is better than that.
Damn. Well, I understand.
I can make your eucalyptus?
Call me a koala. You're my eucalyptus.
Okay. Like I'm gonna eat you?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
I mean, I agree. We could sit around all day and write 2 lines which are exactly as clever, if not more, than "Call me Mr. Flintstone, I'll make your bedrock." But "Call me a koala, you're my eucalyptus," not as good. Sorry.
Okay, that's fair. That's totally fair. I only remember because after I posted that strip, Soulja Boy followed me.
"Call me Mr. Australia, I'll didgeridoo you." That's about as clever. I would say Bedrock is still a little better.
Mm-hmm.
But there were no other jokes along that line in his song. It was just that one.
No. The whole song is
just Flintstones puns. I'm gonna bam bam you.
No, actually, I can't remember. But there's just a bunch of yeah, I can't remember the lyrics anymore. But they're just all similes, allegories, all puns. They're pretty good. No,
when you're ready, Betty, I'm gonna destroy ya. You'll be rubble.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I think so.
And I can't see how, if it's about fucking women using Flintstones as the springboard into your humor, why Bam Bam would not come up.
Exactly. That's pretty important.
He should be fired.
Yeah.
Well, do you read webcomics?
Not as much as I used to.
Okay, so who did you used to read?
So when I was growing up, I read, of course, like the big ones. Got PvP, Penny Arcade, all the like.
PvP, Penny Arcade.
Those are like the ones that people usually start out with.
Okay.
What else did I read? I read a lot of Least I Could Do.
Least I Could Do.
I'm looking for group or by Blind Ferret guys.
Okay.
They're in Toronto, or no, not Toronto, Montreal. And then are they in Montreal? Who else?
You said Blind Ferret.
Blind Ferret.
Okay.
Yeah. They're over in the East Coast.
Yep, somewhere.
And then I read a lot of, well, not a lot of because there wasn't that much, but there was this comic called A Lesson is Learned, but the Damage is Irreversible.
That's the name of the entire comic?
That's the name of the comic.
Like the URL?
The URL is A Lesson is Learned.
Okay.
But it's just very artsy, but funny, like long form. It's long form in layout,
length.
But
it's long form in length.
But like the comics don't usually tie in with each other.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a long form gag comic, and I loved it because one, the artwork was amazing.
Uh-huh.
And actually, I may be like wholly wrong on this, but I think that the artist did some of the art on Braid, if not all.
Okay. Could you plug that again? What's the name of it? A lesson.
A lesson is learned, but the damage is irreversible.
A lesson is learned, but the damage is irreversible. Okay,
yes.
Interesting plug.
Yes.
That's who you used to read. Any more?
I used to read that. I don't think they even update anymore. There's a bunch of comics that I used to read that are just gone.
No, that was an interesting collection there. I would not have expected any of them. You said PvP, Penny Arcade, The Lesson is Learned, or A Lesson is Learned, and Blind Ferret?
Blind Ferret, yeah.
Okay.
Read a lot of them. Other web comics, actually.
Well, that's who you read growing up.
Yeah, there was also one called. It's not necessarily a webcomic, but it is one of my biggest inspirations. It was a comic called School Books and Brimstone. It's by this artist. Her name is Stephanie Lastimolo, and it was.
Sorry, I'm gonna need that one more time. Stephanie.
Yeah, Lastimolo. I have to.
Lastimolo.
So she made this comic called School Books and Brimstone. It was about high school, kids in high school, but they're like, I guess one of their teachers gets possessed by a demon or makes a pact with a demon, who happens to be a chicken. And it's really funny. It's really well done. It was very short-lived. It was only there's probably less than 12 strips in total, but it was a huge inspiration for me because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make. That's one of the inspirations for No Spring Chicken. It's like kids in a high school just growing up and doing funny shit.
That's a plug for No Spring Chicken.
Pretty much.
No, Stephanie
Lastimolo? Tomilo, yes. She's the artist.
And it was School Books and Brimstone.
Yes.
Okay. Do you read any webcomics these days?
I read a lot of Balls of That by Luke McKay. Good for Megan McKay.
Yeah.
And Up and Out by Julia Kay.
Wonderful. Well, Enzo, thank you very much for spending the time to talk to me today. You make a wonderful comic, and you've been doing it for such a long time.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
Again, I would like to thank Enzo for being on the show. See you soon, buddy. Okay, so the next guest is going to be Olivia Walsh, who makes Imogen Quest. Your homework, should you choose to accept it, would be to go to either Tapastic or Tumblr, or her website, imogenquest.net, and read all of the comics that you can before the episode. As always, please like, blah, 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 and blah the episode on social media so that more people can find it. As always, thank you for listening. Bye-bye.